Good morning, Superkickin with Stephen fans. Your favorite host right here, Stephen A. 1181. We got Greg over there. The Greg 1. Happy to be here. Happy Christmas and Christmas season. I'm rocking my Darby Allin holiday sweater, which actually you could kind of. I can just wear this like whenever. You know, it's not like it's. I don't think it has a very wintry theme, so I might just wear this whenever. So
yeah, absolutely.
Pretty
sweet.
We got War Games tonight. I don't know if you saw as well, Greg. Tonight is Beth Phoenix's last night as commentator, so I'll be interested to see who they bring in to kind of replace her. You kind of wonder if she'll get emotional at the beginning and then kind of let it, simmer down. But then also makes me wonder with the Miz and Maurice aspect, if maybe Beth Phoenix plays a role in that, maybe stepping away from NXT. And she could step into that role a couple times. But she did say tonight is her last night commentary and just kind of, wants to spend more time with family. And I know her, the girls are younger, so maybe, want to enjoy that time. And she's got her music career to focus on, Greg. I still have not listened to the 5-song EP, but I'm sure it's doing well. So. How is your weekend going? Anything fun and excited to report on your end?
No, just kind of chilling in a holding pattern. Came through Thanksgiving largely unscathed. I didn't meet 6 cousins I didn't know I had, so that was interesting. Oh, okay. Had a bunch come down from New York, and I'm always all over the country when the holidays roll around. So this is my first time sitting and having Thanksgiving dinner with family since I was a teenager.
Okay.
So there's been some new faces and things like that pop up, but it was awesome.
Your car's good? Because you had car trouble.
Yeah, the Jeep is still at the shop. It was supposed to be done Friday, and then I called to check up, and it's like, well, we put a tracker on the part, and it's not going to get here until Monday. So,
but you got a rental car to get home or not?
Yeah. I still got a rental. I hate it, but I still have it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I said, a little Hyundai Elantra is like riding a go-kart. Okay. So it's so low to the ground, it's ridiculous.
So where's
I can barely fit in it.
Is the Jeep in Raleigh though, or is the Jeep back? Okay. So you have to still go back. Still. You'll still have to go back to Raleigh to get the Jeep. Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I guess you'll make another trip to say hi to family if you have time. But
exactly.
So and I started working on my outside light, so I was trying to knock that out. It was a little colder than I would have liked, so hopefully we'll knock that out quick and get that done. But so we'll talk Raw and SmackDown, then we'll do some AEW, and then we'll finish up, Greg, with War Games. And it's kind of interesting as the first kind of, I feel like big, event for, we had Halloween Havoc, but this is really I want to see which direction we're going with NXT, 2.0. So, because we definitely got the old school and the new school mixing it up, except for like the Duke Hudson and Cameron Grimes match and, and Roderick Strong, I guess, and mixing up with Joe Gacy. But, I'm really curious to see, do they let the 2.0 people, show out? Do they still kind of hold back and maybe wait another month or two, wait till TakeOver or something like that? So, maybe during WrestleMania season, but we'll see where everything shakes out. But if we're looking at Raw first, so our opening match was Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, just a solid opening match. I know, Greg, we bring it up every week. I don't know what's next for Finn. We know what's next for Seth. He's heading on to day one. But right now, I guess Finn is the bigger question mark, and it also makes me wonder, where's his contract? Like, does he, personally, I think he just wants to stick around. I think he's kind of fine in that, just making a check and, showing out when he can, Greg. I think he did so many years in New Japan. I think he's fine with kind of earning that money. He's got a wife. I don't know if they're thinking about kids, but he's celebrated 3 years with the wife now. So you wonder, well, they can kind of coast along. And, like I said, if he gets featured, he gets featured. If he doesn't, he just puts on the good match, no matter where he's positioned. So, but I don't know where he's headed, because I don't know right now if I could see anybody that would be a good fit for him and a viable option for him. So, but we figured Seth would win, because you got to build up Seth strongly, and he obviously looked that way. Curb stomp a couple of times to kind of take out Finn, and took him out last week. So I know, Greg, you'll want to rant and rave on Finn, but let's keep it to a minimum. And I don't know. Do you have any ideas where Finn could go? Because right now, like I said, I think he's just there. And, if he gets featured, he'll step it up. And if he doesn't, it's almost like an Orton type aspect, where if he finds something he wants to sink his teeth into, he's going to step it up. And if not, he'll just do what he can to, make that other guy look good. So, yeah.
Where do I think he's going to go? AEW. That's what I hope. And I'll curb the rant as much as I can. But you know how badly I hate this.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think he's had like 2 wins since the draft in the tournament that they have for the number 1 contender, I think it was. And he's taken a boatload of L's, which is not right. Finn Balor is too good, too great to be a member of the Job Squad.
Yeah.
So I hate it so much. And when you see the him and Seth matched up, that's all you can do is hope for a good match, because you knew what the outcome was going to be. And I hate it for those reasons. I mean, you have the backstory with those two as it is, with Seth getting, or Finn getting his first Universal Championship, beating Seth. You could have built it up to be so huge, and it was just another match. So I get it. You need to keep Steph strong, but you could have kept him strong against anybody. So I hope Finn is in a great place where he can just coast and everything, but he deserves so much better. So I'm still sticking with #justice for Finn until we get it. So hopefully that contract's coming up and he can go somewhere where he can be Finn again.
Because I don't think he wants. I feel like he's done the New Japan thing, so it's like, what would he have to gain, kind of going back there? And like you said, I guess AEW, because that's where we push everybody to. But I don't see him going Hollywood. I mean, he doesn't seem like. I mean, his promo skills are up and down at times, Greg. So I can't imagine him, trying to do a movie. Whereas John Morrison, we thought, John Morrison could probably show up in a movie and be fine. But I'll be curious to see what kind of contract we're looking at for Finn. Maybe after WrestleMania or wherever. So RK Bro defeated Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. I was looking at day 1 as well, Greg, because that's coming up. We already got the SmackDown side. That's going to be the Usos and New Day. I'm guessing it'll be AJ and Omos again, and maybe you throw Street Profits like a triple threat, because those are the most, those are the 2 viable options. And I'm fine with that. Maybe it keeps RK Bro still strong, and maybe Street Profits get the upper hand ultimately at WrestleMania. I feel like that's where you want to do the big celebration for them, and overcoming AJ almost and overcoming RK Bro, getting the titles. So I'm kind of leaning towards that, maybe for day 1, a triple threat match for that. I mean, Ziggler and Roode have eaten so many losses, and it seemed like they were playing up, and I think it's time, Greg. We got to split them up. Ziggler and Roode, I think it's way overdue. Give Robert Roode Glorious back because I missed that theme song. I don't care if he goes back to the ropes, but his song was so good. So where do you kind of see the tag team picture shaking out, Greg, for, day one, since that's our next pay-per-view we're looking ahead to?
I think that's a great idea is do the triple threat, AJ Almost, Street Profits, and RK Bro, for a couple reasons. To one, get the Street Profits above AJ and Almost, set the groundwork for AJ and Almost splitting off or breaking up, and then to put Street Profits and RK Bro on collision course without putting them, directly against each other.
Yeah.
So it, points them all forward. It puts them in separate directions, but equal directions. You set up the feud with AJ and Almost. You're going to set up the big finale with Street Profits and RK Bro, the transition of the titles, and then RK Bro can split up, and then you have an awesome rivalry with Randy and Riddle. So it serves a lot of purposes just doing this triple threat and setting up so many storylines that come after it.
Yeah, and I think if we, what do you think about Ziggler and Rude? It's probably time to cut that cord there, right?
Yeah, they're serving their purpose and jobbing out to get over everybody else, the Profits and RK Bro. But yeah, they're definitely better as singles than they are together. Nobody's into it. You don't see Dirty Dog merch anywhere.
And it's funny because we showed it. I mean, they have it, but and I mean, they've been the tag team for what, since 2018? Because I know they won the SmackDown titles together. So it's been a few years.
Yeah.
So it's probably time to let that thing die. And I don't need a feud between the two. Now, I was kind of thinking about Orton and Riddle. I kind of wonder if they might just do it without the feud as well. When it's time for them to break up, you just maybe do Riddle like saying, "Oh, thanks, bro, for all your help," and Orton just kind of like, "You got it," just kind of moving along. Because not every tag team needs a feud, but
no. I'm going to disagree with you on that.
You're going to give the feud.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree because you got to have the feud at the end because you got to show how far Riddle's come.
That's true.
From starry-eyed kid in the face of the legend to this whole evolution process he's been going through. Getting more serious, getting more aggressive, getting more like Randy. And there's no better way to show him I'm on your level now than to take on the master. It's like old kung fu. You're the student, the sensei, and then you work up to the point where you can challenge him and you can beat him, and then he accepts you. So you got to have that with Randy and Riddle.
I mean, that's fine, and we'll see when that could come to fruition. So, who had Edge and Miz feud coming on their bingo card for 2021, right? Because we were talking about all the Edge. I think the Miz stepped up his game though. I think this is the type of feud for Miz. I feel like the Miz has always proved himself, and it's just another stepping stone to keep proving himself. Because I feel like there is going to be that little doubt in his mind that he has the confidence, but there's the fans doubt, like, is he really a top-notch superstar? Now, I was interested, Greg, because Maurice involved herself, and that's why I said, does maybe Beth Phoenix, because maybe day one you could do the mixed tag match, and then do the, one-on-one match at Mania or before then if you want to. But, I thought it was a really strong back and forth. And like somebody brought up that camera angle where like Edge was just in the glasses glare, and you could just see his face in that glare. I thought that was a really awesome shot, and making the Miz take off his glasses and kind of really look into his eyes. But Edge had some really pointed words towards Miz. And like we said, whenever the Miz really feels something, the stuff with Dan and Bryan on Talking Smack back in the day. The Miz is is A1. He's up there. So I mean, he's probably like an Orton. Like, I don't think we'll fully appreciate the Miz till he retires, and think back, and because he's come far. I mean, from real world Miz to forgetting lines, as tough enough host type deal to, laying down really solid promos, and the ring work is good. So, I mean, and I thought Edge is, the whole idea, like Edge said, yeah, I curtain jerked the WrestleMania that you main evented, but I'm still a bigger superstar, because that next night Edge had to retire, and he got all the love, and you don't even remember the Miz was champion at that time. So I'm actually looking forward to this. I think they both, this is one that I didn't see coming, and I think that's why I think I'm looking forward to it, because I didn't see it coming. The Miz bring it up. I didn't get any fanfare. Edge gets fanfare every few months. Every time he comes back, and it is kind of funny because you think he was only gone a month, or if that, because Hell in a Cell was only a month ago. But they really built up Edge's return more so than the Miz, who's been gone for a few months. So, are you not digging into this feud yet, Greg?
Well, when Miz's music started playing, try saying that 3 times fast.
Mm-hmm.
When Edge was in the ring, I did eye roll. Not and Miz was off doing his Dancing with the Stars thing, and funny lines about that. And I thought it was quite appropriate that he gets voted off Dancing with the Stars and comes out to the ring and looks like a giant mirror ball.
Mm-hmm.
But in Edge's line about, weren't you 9th place or something like that, was great. I expected more for Edge's return, but I'm keeping an open mind to it. And like you said, Miz has, shown he's got it when he's in a program that he's really into. He's like Orton. You give him something he likes, something he can sink his teeth into, and he'll kill it. Miz, for as much as we roll our eyes when he's in the ring and on the microphone talking about himself, a guy is top notch when he's cutting promos, digging at his opponent, and being the alpha heel. Everybody loves to hate Miz, and he had T-shirts that said so. So, looking at it in a broader scope, this could be a fun rivalry because, Miz will cut every corner, and it's going to make Edge look even more baby than he does already. So, and I like the angle with possibly Beth getting involved because, Maurice is going to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
They've announced her back, and most likely back as a wrestler. She has her gear on and everything. So you figure she's going to be participating. So it is a great moment for Beth to come back and be a part of it and set up a big one-on-one at WrestleMania. So yeah, I totally agree with your assessment.
I was trying to think if we saw Edge and Beth on a team. I don't think we have. I know they both competed in the Royal Rumble that night, the same night, and they joked. They did a video thing in the backstage. They go, "Well, this is a fun date night." So I don't think we've ever seen them on the same team. So I guess you could say that for WrestleMania, because what bigger, event them teaming together could you do? So you do wonder if maybe we'll get the one-on-one matches first. And then maybe Maurice keeps stepping in so much that, Beth does have to step in. And because like you said, I was surprised that Maurice came out wrestling gear. I thought for sure she was going to slap the taste out of Miz or out of Edge. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, towards the end and kind of let that be the last or the opening shot in a way, like right at the end of the promo. I'm guessing we'll get that eventually. Because like you said, it's interesting that she comes out in wrestling gear. Well, even the Miz in wrestling gear was kind of funny because he wasn't even wrestling. So you wondered, like, why did he, other than, stepping away. But I almost wonder if we'll get the tag match at WrestleMania.
I'm hoping not. just because we've seen this with Miz and Maurice already. If you
That's
remember
true. With
the
Cena,
John Cena and
Nikki.
yep, WrestleMania
Yeah.
33, I was there,
Yeah.
and they did that with Cena and um, Nikki. So I'm hoping they do it in reverse this time and start off with the tag match and go to the one-on-one at the end.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Street Profits defeated Alpha Academy. I mean, not much to talk about there, Greg, since Alpha
no,
Academy, they've not, I mean, it's funny because they're giving them stuff for the Alpha Academy, but they're not picking up wins to back it up. So it's like, I'm sure Chad and Otis are, I think they're friends outside the ring. So I think they're like happy with kind of hanging out and doing this, but it's like, when are they going to get going in some direction? Like, maybe at least being, they've been in the title picture. I give them a short run as tag champions. I mean, is it at this rate, is it going to hurt anything? Because, yes, you have Orton and Riddle on a, kind of a stranglehold with those, but I feel like Alpha Academy needs something right now. So, any thoughts on Street Profits and Alpha Academy? I it just felt like it was just a match that put over Street Profits and nothing more.
yeah, it was, but I think where they're going is just due to the fact that Gable is taking all the falls, that they're still trying to keep Otis strong so he can go after Big E because there is a matchup we haven't seen,
Yeah.
and you still have him painted as a beast, and at least for a couple matches that could be really entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We also saw Apollo Crews get defeated by Damian Priest. We just keep seeing this more physical side of Damian Priest. I kind of love the Titantron where it starts on one color and goes into the other color. So it's giving him this whole, he can turn it on and become a lot more physical. So we saw that. We also saw the Mysterios defeat Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Not much to talk about there. I guess I thought maybe the Hurt Business with them being back together would have picked up a win. We're still kind of doing the Bobby Lashley aspect with that. So any thoughts on those kind of couple things there, Greg?
Yeah, are they back together yet? I mean, we've only seen
Yeah.
Shelton and Cedric together. We haven't seen Lashley. Haven't seen
That's true.
MVP. Um, so I'm not convinced that they're all back together yet. You had a vignette play of Lashley like he was just coming back into the game as a babyface. So I'm not understanding what they're doing with the Hurt Business right now.
Other than they put him back just to put him back. But then Team Liv defeated Team Becky in a 10-woman tag team match. I almost was like, oh, wow, Survivor Series style match, Greg, that we could have just done in Survivor Series. But, it wasn't. It was just a straight up tag match. But we figured, Beck or Liv would get the upper hand because now we'll get the one-on-one match, which I'm sure I'm guessing shenanigans will happen because I still think we'll get another match between them at day one. You kind of play that up. So any thoughts on the 10 women tag match? Just a lot of back and forth and, just the usual everybody trying to hit their spots at some point, Greg.
Yeah, it was just your normal cluster, so nothing special.
And then finally, we did have Seth Rollins cost, that's DQ that gave Kevin Owens the win. So now it'll be Kevin Owens, Big E, and Seth Rollins for the championship at day one. I think we needed something like that because all three of these guys have shown themselves in the main event. We keep saying it's probably just Kevin Owens right off. He's even brought it up. I mean, I think the writing is heavy there on the wall. So he might as well be Bret Hart when he got screwed over and just write AEW in the air because it just feels like that is where it's heading. So, and I got the screen capture of Big E. I love that he has a Festivus ring gear on because he's a huge Seinfeld fan. And I know his last ring gear had like episode titles, I believe it was, or some sort of, Seinfeld looking gear, so that's kind of fun. But Seth Rollins came out there looking almost looking like Becky Greg. I was like, wow, he must have raided her closet for that off with those big red shades and the big pink, almost a Pink Panther looking coat. I thought he looked like a detective of sorts because that was just a different type of look for him. So so we'll get the three-way dance at day one. I'm gonna assume Kevin Owens eats the pin because he probably keeps going back to the well of Seth and Big E somehow. So, and then it'll probably be Kevin Owens, I don't know, last match, Greg, but probably close to one of his last matches in WWE and off to AEW to see what he could do there. So, probably back as Kevin Steen, his original ring name. So, any thoughts on the main event there, Greg, for Big E and Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, of course, involving himself?
Yeah, pretty predictable. Once you see the third party is sitting at ringside, shenanigans about to go down. And this is the way you make it happen without, defining down Big E or making him, take an L to KO. So, as soon as you saw it, it's going to happen somehow. And so it's what we expected, what we got. So I think it's going to lead to a fantastic match. Pretty basic way of getting there. So
that was Raw. We'll go right into SmackDown. Do a quick commercial break. We'll get some AEW talk. Do another commercial. Then we'll get into our predictions. But we opened the night, of course, with Brock Friday. Greg, in case you didn't know, Brock Friday happened. And we saw Brock Lesnar out there looking like the lumberjack he is. Sami Zayn comes out there to, say, when I win my match, you'll get the first title shot. And Sami Zayn wanted to wrestle on day one, Greg. We all knew that was going to happen. Brock literally wrangled his Armstronged him into the match that night. And we'll just jump into the main event. Brock Lesnar killed him. Roman Reigns killed Sami Zayn. And we are official. It is Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, day one. Do we think that happens at Mania too? Like, is this going to be a longer feud, or is this a one-off? And then maybe we go Brock and Lashley because we keep saying that should happen. So what do we think of, Greg, for the whole day one, for the Brock-Roman feud? Because Sami Zayn, let's face it, he got his shot. He lost. So he's done.
First of all, that segment was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
I loved it so much. I'm a Brock guy to my soul.
Yeah.
But Brock's not that guy who's going to come out and do a 10-minute soliloquy to open the show. He's going to come out, he's going to say about 5 words, and then he's going to be, kicking somebody's tail. And when Sami comes out, you're like, oh, I had to sit up straight in my seat because this is going to be fun.
Because he could feed off him really well.
Exactly, and he did. He did such a fantastic job. I loved it so much. It had potential to be a disaster.
Yeah.
We barely heard Brock utter many words ever, just because he's always had Paul Heyman there to speak for him, and he just bounces in place and looks menacing.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the longest amount of time I've ever heard him speak at once.
Yeah.
And he killed it. He and Sami, shout out to Sami, that was awesome. The whole segment was beautiful. So had to put that out there first because I would go watch that again. So if you're watching this and you haven't seen that segment, go watch it. First 10 minutes of the show, and it was killer. Mm-hmm. As far as how the rivalry is going to go, I think you have to get this to WrestleMania. There's no use killing, all this money with one more match and then that's it. I mean, you got, Brock's the cash cow. He's the guy we want to win. We want to see Roman dethroned at some point. but there's few guys on the roster right now that we can legitimately look at and go, okay, that guy, that's the guy that's going to beat him. And Brock is the number one name on that list.
Yeah.
So I can still see shenanigans happening until we get to WrestleMania, and maybe at that point we get a cage match where everybody's out, maybe in the Hell in a Cell, uh, because the heat between these guys is so intense, and it would warrant. I don't know if there's ever been a Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania, but
Well, Undertaker and Shane.
okay, that happened at WrestleMania. Okay, so
Yeah, that's what Shane.
very
Took the
few have
fall.
happened at WrestleMania.
Remember,
Then. How
Shane
about that?
took the fall from ridiculously heights
Yeah.
because it's on the
So,
outside. But yeah, I
okay,
don't
so
know.
very
But
few have happened there.
I guess that's a downfall. We don't know who, not necessarily who could beat Brock, but who can beat Roman, but who needs to beat Roman. Like if you look at the SmackDown roster, it's hard telling. Like Roman could hold the title for a whole nother year. Like it's, because I mean, do we want Brock to be that guy? I personally don't. So it's hard for me to like when Big E won, it's like, okay, Big E made sense. I mean, I kind of wonder if you went back to the Drew Roman but then I feel like Drew needs to overcome Roman. But then Drew's already kind of got his moment a few times. So it's one of those weird technically he hasn't got his moment with a live crowd because he lost to Lashley last year.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe in Dallas, that could be a good moment for Drew. But, we keep showing Drew getting screwed over. Like he didn't get in the Battle Royal. He missed the cut somehow. He tried to come out there and cut the line with his sword, but that didn't work. So, yeah, I guess and I like Roman and Brock in the cell. That is something that, because, they would just, it could be like that, the WrestleMania match where Brock was laying some legit hits to Roman. So, yeah, that could be something to watch as well, especially with Heyman. If you have Heyman finally pull the turn and maybe help Brock win,
right?
And really get Brock in the good graces. So, I mean, he already is, but that kind of be something to watch as well. So,
yeah. Or do you think they're working towards a triple threat with
Drew,
Roman and Drew and Brock at WrestleMania, which would explain why he was left out of the Battle Royal, which why he has nothing to do right now. And
would Drew overcome both those guys though, or would it still be Roman holding on to? And that's where it's tough. Like, I mean, if Drew overcomes both of them, then you gotta keep keep shooting the rocket up him because that's a pretty big win over Brock and Roman at WrestleMania. Like, you got to book him as strong as you can. So, I mean, I'd probably be okay with that. Because like I said, Drew, he beat Brock, in the Thunderdome type atmosphere, loses to, Lashley, when the crowd is back. And, so it's like, has he had that moment where, he can really, maybe he could have his family flown in and, really have a big celebration to like stamp his name, in the, super, in that superstar stratosphere that he wants to be in. You could tell it like every time he's out there, he wants to be that number one guy. And if you have him and Big E as my number one guys and Hangman Page and AEW, Greg, I'm a happy person because those are three of my favorites. So, I mean, I'd be fine with that too. But yeah, I wonder if Drew, like we said, could involve himself. I don't think he needs a Rumble win, but maybe Elimination Chamber win to kind of position himself as the number one contender. And that finds his way into there. Right now, I don't know who's going to win the Rumble. I think this is a wide open Rumble as we've ever had. So, what about Sasha Banks and Shayna Baszler? I mean, Sasha just kind of ran through her. Now, the other story, though, is Naomi and Sonya will get their match, which I still think shenanigans happened in that. So that's probably the bigger story. Do we think that Naomi and Sonya happen at Friday Night SmackDown, or does that happen at day one in a legit match, Greg?
Yeah, I think it doesn't happen until day one,
Yeah,
and something's going to go down, and
probably Shayna out there again.
um, right, or a backstage attack or something like that. So something's up, you can tell, but it's better saved for day one
Yeah.
because it's invested all this time, building heat between them to blow it off in one match on TV. No.
Now they are saying it's in Los Angeles, so like I feel like they might try to build that up as a big night because it is LA. So you could pull it off there, but yeah, I feel like the day one aspect, they keep saying they're kind of making that like a big pay-per-view. Now it's tricky because you have that and the Rumble in January, but at least there's about a month or about 3 weeks between the two, so you can really position things differently. Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, Greg, looking good in fedoras after they wrecked Happy Talk. That's all we need to say there. We also saw the Viking Raiders get defeated by Los Lotharios, but don't worry, Viking Raiders made peace with who was on
Shinsuke and Boogs.
Yeah, they were on commentary, and Shinsuke must be working with a legit hand injury, Craig, because he still has that like wrap on there and that cast, almost the 2 fingers covered up. So, not much to say there. Los Lotharios keep picking up wins, so you wonder if they'll find their way into the title picture. Like I brought up before, we also get Kofi defeating Jey Uso by DQ. So now we're going to get Usos and New Day. I kind of wonder if they'll put the tag titles on New Day, Greg. Then that way, maybe in Royal Rumble, we have a little backstage segment with, Big E as a champion, New Day as champions, kind of like, reuniting for a short minute there because, Rumble, usually everybody's there. So, yeah. Do you see New Day getting the titles back?
I definitely can see that. Anytime New Day and Usos are in the ring, I'm there for it. They always deliver, and they are geniuses when it comes to bringing you something you haven't seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
They've had so many epic matches, and each one is distinguishable from the other.
Yeah.
So we've had enough time with these entities apart that when they're back in the ring together with big stakes on the line, that we're going to get another gem. So I'm so stoked for it. And I do think it can be a moment where the New Day takes the titles again, creates more cracks in the bloodline. I like it that they're woven the New Day into the bloodline story. And it's going to help all parties involved from Roman on down. But do I see him winning? Absolutely. So.
And Xavier Woods is a Georgia guy, and it's in Atlanta, so who knows? Now, then again, it might go the opposite because you usually embarrass the hometown hero in their hometown. So, we could go the opposite as well. But Tony Storm put a pie to the face, Greg, of Charlotte Flair. I'm just waiting for the segment where they're going to do Pie Face, the board game, that little game. Then maybe that would be their thing. But yeah, that's all we got to say about that. I can't believe this is the feud is involving pie. So, and then Sheamus defeats Cesaro, which I thought was weird because I felt like you wanted Cesaro to keep picking up wins. So it's, it kind of sucks that he beats the rookie, but he can't beat Sheamus. I did like you heard Cesaro say, "I loved you like a brother." So I kind of liked, bringing that bar aspect back to it. So, I mean, almost at this rate, might as well just reunite the bar and then add Ridge in there and just have, like we said, a mini League of Nations type deal. But any thoughts on Sheamus getting the win over Cesaro, Greg? Because I was kind of like, you had Ridge lose, and then I guess the veteran is showing him how to do it. So that's, I guess, the aspect they're going with that.
Yeah. it would be fun to see the three of them together, just because they seem like such a natural fit,
Hmm.
and then they have had those three terrorize the whole, tag team division,
Yeah.
while Sheamus and Cesaro taking the angle of schooling the rookie, teaching them this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Um, I think that would be fantastic. Um, it has to go somewhere. I think that is where it's going to end up going. Is that you have a three-man, you know, yeah, kind of a League of Nations. Everybody's got foreign accents and you know from Europe, and it it would be fun to watch. And then you have potential matches with the New Day, potential matches
Yeah.
with the Bloodline, potential matches that could be really really good if you build it up right. So that would be a great way to go, in my opinion.
Especially maybe if you had Cesaro and Sheamus kind of trying to one up each other, like maybe if they have, they're beating up on somebody and you the whole no, I can hit him harder than you in that type of aspect, and Ridge kind of like trying to take all that in, but yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, I like we said, I think it's probably heading that way, but yeah, and obviously the main event was Brock Lesnar killing Sami Zayn and then Roman hitting one spear. I kind of would love Roman just to step on him, not even like hit him with the spear, just like do the whole, pinning him by just stepping on him. But the spear makes him look strong too. So, but we are officially on the road to Brock Roman again at day one. And yeah, that it could go either way because, like we said, if you're paying Brock all this buku money, is he going to be the one to overcome Roman, or is he just going to keep bidding on a few till WrestleMania? So um, that was SmackDown. Anything I missed there, Greg, from SmackDown that you wanted to bring up?
Well, just from the fact that I've noticed that lately, and I think it's because of the um, way the promos have gone in AEW with um, Punk and MJF and um, Kingston and Punk, and how viral those went, that WWE is trying to get in the
Maybe
mix.
lay back.
Yeah, and let more through, as far as let it get more personal.
Mhm.
Um, I've noticed that with the Miz and Edge segment, um, but it still rings a little hollow because it's all being written out. It's not coming out of the wrestlers' mouths themselves, um, as they envision it. It's as a group of writers envision it.
Mhm.
But you see that influence that they're trying to duplicate that for themselves.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know if you've noticed that too with that
Well, that's
promo,
what I was
but
wondering. Like with Edge and Miz, I almost wonder if they may let them go a little more, bullet pointed than reading from because you have the Miz or you have Edge bring up the fact that Miz's name was mentioned by somebody else, and so
yeah,
I can't imagine a writer like, oh, I'm going to write that out, like or like Roman. I think Roman has said he has pretty much a lot of control, creative process on his promos, so it could be some of them have a little more leeway with what they say and letting them try to I still felt like Tony Storm was like reading like this, like looking at something
hmm
in that backstage segment. So probably the younger, talent, I think they might still let them, kind of force feed them rhymes. But then you also wonder if maybe the other, veteran guys like, and especially like the Miz, you got to believe the Miz can riff with
oh
anybody.
yeah,
Just let him have some, like you said, points to get across, and then ad lib when he need, go off the script if he needs to, or go off the cuff a little bit with it. So, because
yeah. Well,
yeah,
like I was talking about, um, back at when they were doing the whole Ms. Maurice, Nikki, and John Cena, that
yeah,
got
oh yeah,
real personal. That got
yes,
real, uh, you know, punching beneath the belt, and that's when it felt the most authentic. And
Yeah.
these guys were just getting the free reign to do and say what they wanted to say, and um, that was what got us so deep into it.
So you just wonder if
And
it
they
depends on
need,
the feud and who
yeah,
is involved. Or
yeah,
like Charlotte, I feel like Charlotte kind of tries to go on her own because some of the stuff she says is just like kind of hits points too. So and still seeing Greg that her and Andrade are probably done, which is so crazy because you saw all the Instagram pictures of them always together, and then
hmm
now you don't. So and especially Ric Flair was kind of like becoming a father-in-law figure for Andrade, and possibly even thought about being brought in to AEW for him. So yeah, I think that's an interesting little, what a way to let's break up right before the holidays. Like I guess it's when
right.
cuffing season ends, but yeah. So anyways, that's a whole nother ball of wax. So let's do a quick commercial break and get into some AEW talk for you, and then we'll get into War Games. That's my best William Regal. Everybody joke we didn't get William Regal saying the famous words as he can do. So maybe he'll show up tonight on the screen saying that, but that'd be kind of fun. So, all right, let's do a
Yeah.
quick commercial break for Elite Performance. All right, and we are back, ready for some AEW talk. So we had Dynamite happen. We had Bryan Danielson defeat Alan Angels. That's 5. We had Hangman Page coming out there because Bryan Danielson was just going to town on him. Then we had John Silver come out there because we heard that Bryan Danielson and Adam Page cannot touch each other before winter is coming, or else everything is off the line. Hangman Page will get suspended and all that. So now we'll get John Silver and Daniel Bryan in Long Island. The heel turn of Daniel Bryan, man, is just so crazy how well it just it just worked in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever it is. So I think him and John Silver will have a really strong match as well. It'll be interesting to see what does he target. He kind of he knocked out Colt Cabana's tooth. He was going to town, on Alan Angels with the submission. Wouldn't let go for a minute, and now he'll get John Silver. And this is a good match for John Silver to kind of prove himself as well. We haven't seen John Silver in many one-on-one matches with, some of the top talents. So, and then we'll get winners coming on December 15th, and I'm really interested to see which way they go. Like, do you keep the title on Hangman and let him roll? Do you play shenanigans? Do you have Hangman have to enter in chase mode again, after Danielson gets it? But Greg, what do you think about the first opening match and where everything is going for Bryan Danielson and Adam Hangman Page?
I am loving it all the way around with the whole storyline. It makes sense to me in the sense that nobody is a bigger, maybe Punk, but I would say nobody's a bigger face in the company than Hangman. Everybody loves Hangman, and putting Danielson against him, the natural thing to do is to make him the heel because he's going to end up the heel where he wants to be or not. Anybody who's standing opposite Hangman is going to be that. So he's leaned into it, and he's really made it personal with him and the Dark Order in the sense of really taking out his friends, and making it more serious, make it more, it feels malicious, and he's sending a message through Dark Order that this is what's going to happen to you. His promos have been on point, um, and each match that he destroys another Dark Order member, we're looking even more forward to what's going to happen when they get to Winter's Coming.
Mm-hmm.
So I've loved what they're doing with Danielson in the sense that he's a beast and he's destroying everybody, and he's flexing it while he's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Being a big sports guy, big UFC guy, it brings back memories of the Diaz brothers in UFC. Nate Diaz has got a guy in submission, and as the guy is getting choked out by a leg triangle, he's sitting there flexing his muscles and jawing at the cameraman. So, that's what Danielson did in one match. Tapping the guy out, and he's standing there flexing and looking at the camera. So maybe he's taking a little bit out of that, but it's been great so far. And Heyman doing very little on the opposite end just makes us anticipate it more. So everything is perfect right now.
Will not be able to do anything because now they added that aspect that he could get suspended if he touches Brian. So that's interesting because I don't remember that line coming out before unless I just missed it. So, and then we went into CM Punk and Lee Moriarty. Moriarty got a lot of close pinfalls there. I mean, there was a couple times I'm like, you better not screw this up, ref. You might accidentally give Punk his loss. I mean, there were some really close calls. So,
there were,
and then
yeah.
The promo, I don't know if I'm liking the Britt Baker stuff involved in with it. Are you, Greg? Like, I don't get why, I guess because Punk called her out over MJF, but then MJF saying like, you'll never have a shot with her. Well, no shit, because Punk is a married man and has been for 7 years. It's like, I get it, but also at the same time, it feels like MJF could dig at other things. I don't know, but Wardlow comes out there, so obviously you'll probably get Punk and Wardlow on the road to MJF and CM Punk, which I think I'm fine with. That gives Wardlow another, good person to fight with. I kind of liked it was back-to-back, like Bryan Danielson, then CM Punk. I still want Greg, Punk, and Bryan to go against the Young Bucks, but that's a pipe dream right now. We'll see if that ever happens. So what do you think about Lee Moriarty? Sorry, I keep going back and forth, but Lee and CM Punk are really back and forth match. MJF's kind of digs at him. And then, like we said, maybe Wardlow and CM Punk going at it next.
Yeah. Well, first of all, when Lee Moriarty was coming out, I thought I was going to get Riho with the anime music.
Yeah.
And I was like, what in the world? Lee Moriarty
I don't
comes
remember
out,
his
he's
music
bouncing
at
around.
all. So
it was very anime with it sounded a lot like Riho's music.
Mm-hmm.
And it had an anime background and the anime sound and the high pitched Asian female voice. You have to go back and watch it. It's kind of trippy because it's totally what you would not have figured for Lee Moriarty. But match was fantastic. And like you said, there's a couple times I thought they were going to give him a 3, and not on purpose, because those pinfalls were so close that I think that Moriarty may have released the submission because he couldn't get out. But those were tight.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the match a lot, and they really played up on Moriarty's technical ability and how good he was, and you can definitely tell that's his best match he's ever had in the company so far.
Mm-hmm.
And it laid the groundwork for him to do some things on he's another long-term story. A year from now, year and a half from now, he could be a big time player. So great match. Then the whole business with MJF coming out, 5 minutes on the stick with these two, yes, I'll take that. And coming out with the whole Britt Baker business, it does harken back to the epic 20-minute talk they had last week, where one of my favorite lines of the whole thing was Punk telling MJF that you're thinking you're most powerful of the pillars, but you don't realize you've been replaced by Britt Baker.
Mm-hmm.
And that got a huge pop out of the crowd. And maybe MJF thinks he has a thing for Britt Baker, which makes no sense. I don't know if you saw it, but after the show in where they had the big mic battle, that Punk came back out, addressed the crowd, and at
With
the
her
beginning of
jacket?
it, he was wearing Britt Baker's ring jacket because
It looked
he
like
left
a
it back.
fat guy in a little jacket. I was afraid he was going to rip that thing. And by the way, did you hear McAfee say Sasha Banks was one of the
Exactly.
pillars on SmackDown, which I thought was interesting. Pat McAfee used that line that Sasha was one of the pillars of the women's division. So interesting that because I kind of my ears kind of perked up when I heard the line pillars, because we haven't heard that WWE speak. So you wonder if they'll start playing that up as well.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, just I get why Britt, but at the same time, I don't know. It just seems like a forced line in a way. Like, you'll never get a shot with her. Well, no, duh. I mean, Adam Cole's
maybe
with
this
her.
is planting. Yeah, maybe this is planting the seed though, with MJF speaking disparagingly about Britt Baker, that
Adam
down
Cole
the
beats him
road
up.
that Adam Cole is right. Hey, talk about a dream match, man. I mean, that would be amazing.
I thought our dream match was Tony Schiavone and Adam Cole with Britt Baker in a cage. A Shark Tank.
Yeah, the Shark Tank.
AEW's first ever Shark Tank match with Britt Baker. So, yeah, I don't need to see Tony Schiavone involved in it.
Well, I'll be rooting for Tony.
So, Wardlow did defeat AC Adams. Just building up to Wardlow. I mean, I always joke. I'm like, if you're ever as a guy, Greg, to probably make the jump to WWE, I feel like it's going to be Wardlow, but we'll see if that actually happens. Sting and Darby Allin have given the first loss to the Gun Club, Greg. They are no longer undefeated, and that's all I want to talk about that match. If you want to say more, you could say more. I'll let you have it.
Nah, I'm good.
Okay. Moving ahead. How about Ruby Soho, though? Speaking of good matches, Ruby and Chris. This was, really. And man, Chris Statlander, Greg, has just talk about crushes in wrestling. She's like shot up in my crushes. Like, there's just something really unique about her that I'm like, because I usually tend to like want a girl that is unique, and I'm like, is there any more unique than her? So, but really strong effort from both women. And it's almost one of those, like, the crowd, both these girls, like, I didn't want either girl to lose. Like, I mean, both of them should have moved on. But I feel like Ruby is going to get that TBS championship. Now she's already overcome her toughest. Now she's got Nyla Rose. So it's like you really have Ruby on a path to that TBS championship. And then, you build her up, and then she could get the women's official title down the road, but or she could just be a strong, kind of like the TNT title. You just book that just below your world title. So I'm thinking Ruby's going to pull that TBS championship around her waist pretty soon, whenever they finally get to the finals of that, Greg. What are you thinking on that end? And what about the match with Chris and Ruby there?
Amazing match. I was rooting for Statlander, to be honest. I know Ruby's, new girl on the block, and she needs to stack some wins. She's already took a 1-0 to Britt, and she seemed to be a tier below Britt right now. But it's just another one of those matches where you see it start and you don't know who's going to win, which is the great thing about it. And it's the opposite of what's going on WWE TV. It's like all these matches, you legit wonder who's going to win. Because they're doing such a great job of booking these things. Fantastic match, and it's I think it's building towards a Ruby versus Thunder Rosa final. And talk about 5-star matches. There it is, right there. And again, you have two fan favorites going up against each other, and this match should be the match that finishes the night on Dynamite. The last 30 minutes, give it to them, and let's have a classic. In the end, I agree with you that this is, Ruby's tournament to lose at this point. Now that Statlander's out, so I think that's what we're going to get: is Ruby and Thunder Rosa in the finals in an epic match, and Ruby finally comes out on top.
And then finally, we had Cody Rhodes and Andrade and Idolo. We had everything out there. And should we just jump to the flaming table spot, Greg? Because, Cody was charred. And part of me, it felt pretty forced, though. Because this feud doesn't feel like it needs that. And then, Brandy, doing it. I don't honestly think of Brandy as this, I just think more of her as a bitch. To be honest, than a hardcore, setting the table ablaze for Cody. So that was kind of weird. I felt I don't know. It just, I get it because, we're literally trying to make Cody go through fire to get cheered. And he got kind of cheered, but he also got oh my God, why are you doing this? Because you don't need to. So it's that it just felt like it didn't need it. And, because they were having a pretty, solid, I don't think it took away from the match, but at the same time, I don't think it was needed. It just, I feel bad for Cody too, because, he was gelled up, yes, but that were still pieces of wood, charred, on him. So, because he took the brunt of it, and you could have had Idolo go through. You could have split it up a little bit. It was all Cody. That was it's always like Bubba Ray Dudley when he would do his power bomb. Especially when he did it to Stacy Keibler or Mae Young. He took the brunt of that, on his butt. So, which is probably his biggest asset anyway to take those. But have at it, Greg. What do you think about this whole? Whatever it was.
Yeah, I agree. It was a good match. They were doing a great job. I was a little confused by the ending. In the sense that I agree with you that there's no point in doing that. There's no huge amount of heat between Andrade and Cody. If this had been Malachi and Cody, it would have made a lot more sense given what Malachi's put Cody through. But, we're talking about Andrade. And I know they're just starting to build what's going to happen with those two, but that's another reason that you don't do it right now is, whatever they're doing is just starting. So,
well, now it's over.
What's the point of having your mystery person? Yeah. You started at the Super Bowl and now you're going into the regular season.
Yeah.
The whole thing is backwards.
And like you said with Brandy, it just she didn't need to be the mystery person, I don't think.
Right. The whole thing was kind of self-serving, and we were watching the match and wondering what all this crap was on Cody's back. And
now we see.
Once you saw the table get lit, he's like, oh, okay, now I get it. The wax you put on your back so you can burn and without getting burned.
Mm-hmm.
working in TV and movies and things like that for as long as I have, that I knew what that was once I was able to put it into context. But yeah, the whole spot was pointless. They could have had a great finish without it, and now there's nowhere to go but down. So um, it's another reason that we've soured on Cody. Everything is kind of self-serving and puts the spotlight on him, and he wants to look like the hero, and he's just kind of tone deaf to what he's doing.
Yeah, and that, like we said, you didn't. I mean, if we're gonna have a mystery person, I mean, the last person I want is Brandy Rhodes to be that. Like, I mean, she's not Lita lighting it for Edge, and for
Yeah.
Mick Foley, for Edge to go through a flaming table to take out Mick Foley. But and like you said, it didn't warrant it. Like, I think you could have went through the table. That's fine. And, kind of end it there. Like, I don't know what the purpose of the fire, because, now on the opposite side, I guess we can get a Rampage and talk about, we'll kind of start the back there, Rick, with the whole Malachi Black now taking out both eyes of Pac. So I don't know what the hell they're going to do, a blindfold match. Are we going to harken back to those days of what was it, Jake the Snake Roberts and Rick Martel, Royal Rumble 89 or 90 or something like they. I remember that little thing, but you could see that they could see each other now that I look back. Still, hell of a match with all four of these guys. Then Malachi just digging the thumb in there and having a little bit of blood, I thought was just a great. Apparently, Malachi can't get away from eye for an eye, Greg, because he was involved with the Mysterio stuff in WWE
Right.
and Seth Rollins for that. So, Malachi is just an eye for an eye guy, but, and hopefully Ray Phoenix is okay, unless maybe that was a way to write off Phoenix for the time being and get, give him, but, really, ridiculously match. FTR was in Mexico last night, and I guess they got, the fans were totally just healing against them, which is good because that's what you want. But I think even somebody tried to throw a glass of the old can or Coke at you, and we were just toss it away like that. So interesting to see that. I would have loved to see that live just to kind of see how that played out. But what do you think about the final the main event of Rampage? Then we could kind of work our way back into the other match that happened between Tony Nese and Sammy Guevara, since Jade obviously rolled like she was going to. Nothing much to talk for Jade. I mean, like I said, it's it's just slow moving for her, and she'll get to where she needs. But have at it, Greg. The main event, and Malachi and Pac maybe doing an eye for an eye match down the road, because that's where it's headed.
Yeah, love the match. You get these four in the ring together. It's going to be awesome. All three of the Death Triangle, they're must see. They always bring it. FTR, love them too, and you're going to get a good old style, back to NWA days with the Anderson brothers, going up against the Rock and Roll Express and kind of vibe to it. Old gritty and kind of smash mouth, old school wrestling, which it was, and it was great. The end was, I enjoyed it with Malachi coming out, and if you're going to do a distraction finish, that's the way you do it. You come out, you blind the guy, and the other team, scoops a win, and then you get in your then you go and you take out the other guy. So the whole thing with Malachi, gouging out the eyes of Pac, I enjoyed it just because this is the persona that we want him to have, that he wants to present.
Yep.
And it's opposite of WWE, where his spookiness was limited to his ring entrance and a few spooky words spoken promos. And now here he is with the same setup, but now he gets to do stuff that is dastardly and do stuff that is evil, and lay on top of him for 30 seconds, gouging his eyes, and then when he shows you his hand, he's got blood on his hands, and this is an evil act.
Yep.
And we can get behind that. So and the fact that it's Pac, and we're going to get Pac versus Malachi, I'm loving it, because these two are going to bring the house down, and whatever stipulation they have, blindfold match, or they won't do something as stupid as an eye for an eye that they did in WWE, but they'll find something that is better and is going to make both look great in the process. So I'm excited to see what's going to come out of it, but it's a great way to transition Malachi off Cody into something new, and puts Pac back on a singular road, and it's going to put the Lucha Brothers and FTR
still going
doing their
at each
thing.
other.
Right.
And then,
so I'm looking forward to it.
Then Tony Nese ends up in a losing battle against Sammy Guevara, but I felt like Tony Nese was able to kind of step up his game. He's not a very big guy, so it's interesting. I think we're starting to see AEW maybe get some smaller guys like Bryan Danielson, who still is a bigger star than Tony Nese will ever be. But I think you need that mixture. Sammy Guevara is not the biggest guy, so I like how he works with smaller guys as well. But any thoughts on the opening match? I thought it was just a really strong case to Jay Lethal is still there, even though we haven't seen him since that match with Sammy Guevara. So I wonder how they'll use Jay Lethal, and he's not the biggest guy either. So you do wonder if AEW is kind of maybe this coming year, Greg, if they're looking to build in some kind of like a cruiserweight division, or at least having those guys kind of intermingle more with each other, so you could really have that be something to hearken there, put another calling card on. So what did you think about the opening match that happened on Rampage on Friday night?
I enjoyed it. I wasn't sure what to expect from Tony Nese. I didn't watch much 205 Live or of the cruiserweights once they stopped featuring them on Raw for that few minutes that they did, and which is good for Tony Nese because he can rebuild himself, and doesn't have the stink of a WWE guy on it, because he was buried in shows that nobody watched, and I wasn't aware that he already wrestled matches on Dark and was starting to stack wins, which they alluded to during the show, which is great. The match itself was solid and shows, the guy can be a player, down the road. And I think what you're saying is probably going to prove out to be true, that bringing in guys who are more Sammy's size, comparably, and you just have a core group of guys that kind of measure up well with one another, and have Sammy as the leader of that group. Then you have a good roster of guys to round robin with, and a rotating cast of characters, and guys that are not heavyweights but kind of tweeners, size wise, and Sammy is their equivalent of the world champ. So aesthetically it looks great, and they're all kind of equal size wise and more believable that way.
Oh, and by the way, I was just kind of remembering, Greg, from Dynamite. What the hell was Miro's promo where he was like talking to God? Was that was Dynamite, right? I didn't dream that, did I?
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts?
Nope, you didn't.
Okay.
It was against the white light, but
yeah,
I thought that was alluding to we're going to get Lana sooner than later.
I mean, that's what I keep saying.
The
but
way
it's
he
just
was
like,
talking,
She'll be her.
Yeah,
She'll be the god that he's been missing. Maybe.
Yeah, something like that. But
Yeah.
I think that's what that was going towards, is that
Okay.
we're going to see Lana, CJ, or whatever they're going to name her,
Yeah.
turn up very
Anal.
soon.
Anal. Oh my goodness! I'll never get away from her name being Lana. But anyways, so yeah, so that I guess I didn't want to go back to that, but I kept thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, there was that promo by Miro where he was talking to God, or he's Vince. He's going to be entering a church next with Shane, right? And getting the holy water. We remember that lovely time for Shawn Michaels getting God as his tag team partner. What a horrible tag team partner that was for Shawn. He never tagged in. He never got the hot tags. So, anyways,
right.
Yeah. So let's get into
so much potential just went wasted.
Yeah, I know. He should have went to AEW, Greg. Well, he did. God went to AEW. He just it took him a few years later. It took him some years to find his way. But yeah, that Miro promo, I was like, what is going on? Like, is this like Miro's like actual, like Miro said, I want to do this. But yeah, because like we said, Greg, sometimes it's okay to have creative control, and sometimes you need to say, oh no, we're not doing that. Sorry. Like Tony Khan needs to make
Right.
unless this is Tony Khan's idea, and then it's like, okay. But yeah, so all right. Well, let's get into a couple more final commercials with some realty talk and energy drink, and then we'll get into War Games and what to expect tonight. So give you final commercial plugs and then get into War Games.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSports1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering, if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
All right, and we also get some Rogue Energy real quick because we could all use a little energy in our life. So let's get in some Rogue Energy real quick. All right, and here we go. We are right into NXT War Games happening tonight. I do miss War Game, like Saturday night pay-per-views for AEW or for NXT, but we'll get it tonight. And it's kind of nice for NXT because there's no other pay-per-views this month for WWE. So I've kind of liked that they've shifted that and give NXT the whole kind of forefront tonight. And this is, like we said, kind of the 2.0 version of it. So we'll see where that goes. Beth Phoenix is last night. So good luck to her. We'll see. Like we said, I kind of see like her doing a main roster run just to kind of, finish that up and then doing whatever she might do with family and all that. So first off, Greg, let's look at Imperium going against Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. I'm calling Imperium all the way. I wonder if maybe we might see some cracks between Vaughn and Kyle start to happen. And, that leads to a one-on-one match. And then that writes off Kyle O'Reilly because I do think the writing is on the wall there as well that Kyle is gone soon enough. I don't know what kind of contract situation he has, but I can't imagine it being much longer. So I think it'll be a decent tag match. Nothing too special, but I think Imperium picks up the win. Maybe we'll see somebody else kind of step out from the shadows after the match, kind of set their name next, and kind of go from there. So, Greg, are you going with Imperium as well to win against Vaughn and Kyle?
Yeah, I am. Pretty much for the reasons that you stated is that Imperium's number one, the better team. Two, that it seems like Kyle is ready to go. When you look at from the fact also that the Undisputed Era guys came in together, you figured they would have identical contracts, and now you see Adam Cole and Bobby Fish were gone within months of each other, and Kyle is probably right around the corner as well, unless he's signed an extension. So we've seen nothing about that. So your idea of, a face-off with Vaughn and Kyle, with Kyle putting them over would make perfect sense. And, Kyle goes off to, greener pastures somewhere. So, yeah, definitely I'm with Imperium all the way, even if it wasn't for, the breakup angle that's coming.
And now I think Roderick Strong, you do wonder if maybe he has a longer deal, because obviously him being a cruiserweight champion and Diamond Mine kind of getting over well, I could see him another year or so, down there. Maybe he signed like a year extension, or maybe he signed before then,
Right.
or something like that. So, yeah. Duke Hudson and Cameron Grimes in the hair versus hair match. I think it's going to be Duke in the haircut. I think Cameron picks up the win. As much as I would love to just have Cameron cut a little bit of the hair. At least he did trim up the beard. I think that was needed. But yeah, especially if you're supposed to be this high rolling, multimillionaire guy. But I think Duke Hudson, they kind of get rid of that little comb over thing. He's, the little side part that a lot of people do now. I think that will be gone. He might have a more shaved head look. And I don't think he goes bald, Greg, but I do think he'll have like a shorter hairstyle for the time being. And I'm going to call Cameron Grimes to pick up the win over Duke Hudson tonight. How about yourself?
Yep, we're 2 for 2. Duke's been, getting the upper hand so far with this hair angle. And, this is usually where, the babyface gets his come up. So I definitely got it for Cameron Grimes. He's already had his haircut and looks 1,000 times better. So, he's when I saw him after, the next week, that I was like, wow, that's totally so much better. With the beard being so much shorter and the hair, it's 1,000 times better. So, they can keep riding that. He's got a money look now. And Duke, I don't know what Duke's going to look like, but play up the heel character, make him more angry because he got his head shaved, and it could be a boon for him.
Yeah. Roderick Strong is going with the Cruiserweight Championship opportunity to Joe Gacy. I kind of feel like Joe Gacy will pick up the win here if you're building up this whole, 2.0 era. I can't remember if the Cruiserweight is on the line, or is it just an opportunity to get the Cruiserweight Championship? Which way is it going, Greg? Do you remember which way it's going? Because it says, according to the quick hits, it's an opportunity. But I guess I should look
opportunity. Okay. I was thinking that it was the championship match.
I guess I should just look that up real quick.
So
who are you going with I did watch, last week's stuff because of my titles on the line.
Yep.
So yes.
And Gacy, did the Gacy thing, kind of talked his way into it. And I would say Roderick Strong. It wasn't for the fact that I think the behemoth that Gacy's kind of incorporated isn't going to get involved. But I think that's what's going to happen is that he's going to do something, and that's going to be the way that Gacy manages to sneak out a win. Um, so I think the title changes hands and Gacy gets it.
Yeah, and then it becomes a all-inclusive title, and it's just open to anybody. I don't know if it's
right,
like what they'll do with that, but and then we get into War Games. So we'll go with the women first. We have Raquel Gonzalez, Io Shirai, Cora Jade, and Kaylee Ray against Toxic Attraction and Dakota Kai. I'm calling for Toxic Attraction just to kind of pick up the win. Maybe I'm going to assume maybe Mandy Rose picks up the win, or it could be Dakota. Like, maybe you give the kind of the odd women out for Toxic Attraction. But I think, Greg, I want to see Kaylee Ray be the strongest person coming out of it. Maybe she does the Io Shirai dive off the top, or she gets the big move type deal, just because they've been building her up so well. But I kind of feel like you also want the heels to go over, just so these faces could kind of, have to keep chasing after them. So I'm going to say Toxic Attraction and Dakota Kai get it, but my War Games hero will go to Kylie Ray. So if you want to give a War Games hero, Greg, you can do that and kind of give us your winner as well.
I think this is definitely going to be the best match of the night.
Yeah.
The sides look pretty even, but I think that is such a coin flip.
Mm-hmm.
But with Toxic Attraction's momentum, that they will find some way to, sneak out a win. As far as the hero of the night, I still think the one that gets the big moment is going to be Io, just because of how she flies, and I think she did something off the top of the cage the last one.
Yeah, she did the trash can spot. She put her trash can on her head and just dove off. Like, she's crazy.
Yeah. So
what about Cora Jade? Do you see her? Like, she feels like the odd woman out, I guess. Like, overall, do you think she gets a couple good spots in there just to kind of put her name a little bit higher?
Yeah, she has to. I mean,
or takes a couple tough shots too, I would imagine.
Yeah, to prove she belongs in there.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because she's the one girl in here that doesn't make sense. So you got to make her fit. So giving her a big spot or taking like a crazy bump is what's going to get her up on that level. So
yeah, maybe she does a skateboard spot because she brings that little skateboard with her, and she can pull my Darby Allin the spot. So speaking
put some
of
tacks on the bottom.
Yeah, put some. Well, they'll probably do some, like, I don't know what they put on it, but yeah, that'll be interesting. And speaking of guys not looking like they belong, even though I love him and I know you love him, Greg, LA Knight on Team NXT still is so crazy to me. But I guess he's had, he is a veteran guy, so it makes sense in that regard. But so we have Black and Gold NXT against 2.0 NXT. So this is Tommaso Ciampa. It is LA Knight, Pete Dunne, and Johnny Gargano, who, interesting that you talked about contract stuff, Greg. I guess he signed just long enough to do this. So you wonder where the writing is for him, especially, and then Candice is up in next year. So, do they just take time off to do the family thing for a little bit and then, figure out what they want to do after that? And this is Johnny Gargano's first War Games match, which is so crazy to think, like how long Gargano's been on the NXT roster, Greg, and to have his first match. And Tommaso Ciampa decided to throw more fire in the Where Will Johnny Gargano Go, because he had a nice collage of him and Gargano pictures, Greg, saying, if this is your last night, I just have 2 words for you. Thank you. And like that, that makes you wonder, where, if this is Gargano's kind of last night, which makes me believe, Greg, that the black and gold brand of NXT, the colors, they pick up the win here. I think, your last shot is them just kind of standing tall for now. I don't think we're quite ready to turn that tide in the favor of Braun Breaker and buddies. It's what Braun Breaker, who is now I'm losing all my names.
So Waller,
Grayson Waller.
Isn't it Carmelo?
Carmelo Hayes, and then Tony D'Angelo. So yeah, this is the one, Greg, like you said, where the women's side looks coin flip-esque, 50-50. The men's side is black and gold all the way. Like the old guys got it. I mean, I guess you'll have Braun looking the strongest. I want to see what Tony D'Angelo does, but I do feel like Braun is going to get some of the bigger spots, so he'll be my my War Games kind of hero in a losing effort. I mean, they're totally on board with him, so I feel like you still want to book him strong. And I kind of want Gargano to pick up the final pinfall, though. If this is, I know it's never the right way for the guy to go out as a winner if he's going out, Greg, but this is Johnny Gargano. It's NXT, his baby. I mean, he's got a real baby coming on the way. So I'm a big cheesy Gargano guy. It'd be awesome if we get like DIY's music back for one night and kind of let that play, with Ciampa and Gargano. But I'm saying, the old guys got it. It just feels like they're we're not quite ready for, and like I said, maybe guys to watch though is Tony D'Angelo, Grayson Waller. I think there's a lot of people behind him. So it will be just interesting to see how they're booked. Ultimately, I think Braun Breaker looks the best on that side in the losing battle. So you're going to go opposite, Greg, or are you going to go team black and gold as well?
Black and gold all the way. I think you're right in the sense that Breaker's going to look the best as far as, crazy feats of strength and being the hardest member to overcome. And it's going to be very telling if, one, they do the DIY music with Ciampa and Gargano coming out together. Ciampa's already breaking the fourth wall with his little montage. And I don't know about you, but one of my favorite rivalries of, since 2000 was Ciampa and Gargano, that trilogy of matches that they had. I mean, the first two in particular, because they were so heated and they were so epic, 35, 40 minutes, and just those two killing each other. The story they told and the amount of time between those first two matches, and it was just a constant build, was easily one of my favorite feuds that I've ever seen since, turn of the century. The third match kind of was ruined because they did it in the warehouse, and it took a lot of spice out of it without the audience to back it up.
Yeah, like they did the cinema match for it.
But so not even thinking about that match, but those first two matches were beautiful. They were brilliant. They were violent, and they were what it's meant to be. That was as AEW as WWE could possibly get, but as great as those matches were. And if it plays out that way, that Gargano gets that final pin, that's pretty much the writing on the wall, the graffiti on the wall that Gargano's out of here. but yeah, this is definitely one for the black and gold. And I would love to see my dude LA Knight get the pin. I was very
Who?
happy to see because I went back and hey, don't give me that who.
I know, I'm joking.
I watched last week's NXT before I watched this one, and I was very happy to see that in last week's he was dropping the catchphrases. That's not an insult. It's just a fact of life. And I was like, yes, finally. I've been waiting for this for the whole time he's been back here. That's the first time he said it, and he dropped it twice on that episode. I was like, the talk show. We got to do it. We got to do
Get
it.
that next.
And maybe we're finally getting to it. He's finally uttered the words. It's like a magic spell. You got to say the words, and then the thing happens. And he's finally doing it. And I think that he's gonna get catapulted because but if Gargano leaves and some of the other mainstays, Kyle O'Reilly, they're gonna need people to raise up, and you got a natural right here, veteran who's magic on the microphone, and he's gonna be one of those guys that's gonna get elevated. So I'm hyped for it, as you can imagine.
And did he do many hardcore type
totally.
stuff in TNA? Like, do you kind of remember his run there?
Not hardcore really.
Yeah.
Remember some, street fight variety
Okay.
matches, but nothing too insane.
So then that will kind of be up this. Okay. I just wasn't sure if this was his first kind of foray into, that type of style. But, I mean, he's somebody to watch too. Cause like, like you said, we've seen the glimpses, but we haven't seen it all put together yet. So now he did cut a really good promo. Is one of those, backstage digital exclusives, and he spoke for the team. And I thought he really, laid the groundwork for that. And, just kind of giving everybody their props and, being the spokesperson for the team. I can't remember where that promo was at in my Twitter feed, Greg, but people were sharing it. So I watched it. And it was just one of those digital exclusives, which they always should show because usually those are the best, the best things that they do. So, yeah.
Okay.
Anything?
I'm going to have to go find it now.
Yeah. It's probably under their NXT Twitter page, I'm sure somewhere, anything else from War Games that, we want to bring up, Greg, or you gonna catch it live tonight, or are you gonna wait till a couple days and catch it later?
No, at the latest I'll watch it tomorrow.
Okay.
I know it's cutting into in the football.
You have Chargers game at 4 then, or is Chargers later on today?
No, Chargers are the featured game at 1:00.
Okay.
On playing the Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
And
so that will be.
So if you got Paramount Plus, you're in luck because they're the featured game.
Okay.
But I know Chiefs and I think Chiefs and Broncos are tonight.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's the big game. I'm going to see that. Going to see it with some Chiefs fans. Okay. And so I would miss the beginning of it. So I'd rather wait till it's over and then watch it than catch it halfway through. So
yeah,
I'll do that. But
my Colts got the Houston Texans today, so we'll see. That's a big game for them to try to take care of business there, and then we got the bye week. We're one of the last, we got one of the last bye weeks, which is always a good thing because then your body, can heal up and get ready for that last. Because I think we got the Cardinals on Christmas Day. Then who else they got? Raiders, and then I think they got somebody to finish up the season. So, well, I can't believe we're already at the end of the season. Like this is the last month of it. It's felt like it just started, but that's how it goes. So
yeah.
And looking ahead, I think for day one, Greg, we'll do day one predictions on that Saturday, and I think we'll do who's our best superstars, like our award show. Does that sound like an idea? I know we're talking out loud on.
I like it.
I can't remember if we did. I thought we did some kind of mixed in like superstar of the year type deal. So I say we just kind of throw that out there January 1st and let that be a a big show. So, maybe next week where we'll be live on Sunday again as I head to Chicago to go meet John Cena. I will physically see him in person. So how many times do you think? I was going to say, how many times do you think he's heard, "Oh, I see you"? So I will try to bite my tongue from saying that. San Diego Comic-Con, Greg, he dressed up as the Peacemaker. So I thought that was kind of fun to see him dressed up as the Peacemaker because he has the show coming out in January. It's going to be a series on HBO Max. So I don't think he'll do that for the Chicago one, but he's only there Saturday. So maybe, so that, and then AEW has some guys there. CM Punk will be at the Pro Wrestling Tees table, so I'll have to see where my time is. Adam Cole is doing a 4:30 fixture, so I kind of want to hope I make that. Hangman Page and Ruby are on there as well, and I've met Hangman. I've met Ruby. Obviously, I just met Ruby, but I'm kind of wondering if Hangman has the title with him, Greg. I kind of want to get a picture with that and him. So we'll see if he has the title with him at that event. But so it's going to be a nice long day, and then probably drive back that night from Chicago, going up Friday in the evening. So then that way we'll kind of be there and we can go right away in the morning when doors open and get that all taken care of. But so we'll do the show on Sunday again, and maybe we'll take off Christmas just because it's Christmas, and then come back big for day one because I think that will be. I think that will be. Where did November go and where does December go? I feel like after Labor Day, life just is a blur. I don't remember what happens. So, but anyway, so thank you for watching. Go Colts, go Chargers. My Pacers are imploding as it is, so we will not talk about them. Your sons, Greg, the streak is over.
The streak
right
ended. Yep.
Yeah.
18 in a row. They tied the streak by beating Golden State, which was the best team in the league.
Lost to Golden State
to tie the streak. Then they beat Detroit to break the streak. Then they had to play Golden State again. Okay. And then Golden State won.
That's a weird scheduling
they set
thing.
The new streak.
Because normally you would do back to back, like you would do a home and away. Like they would play at Phoenix and then they would go to Golden State that next day, or the next day trip or whatever. So that's a weird scheduling fluke thing, isn't it? I mean, so you need a Michael Cole there to say, the streak is over and have, 19-1 or whatever, 18-1. So Brock Lesnar could have showed up. But anyways, so your sons, I'm sure they're still 19-4 or 18-5 or so, or something ridiculous, right?
19-4.
And Golden State is
they're 19-4, and they're 20-3.
20-3. So
we're a game behind them still.
I mean, that's Golden. So, who would have thought Golden State would killing it? Yeah, and Golden State, just we thought, they're on the dynasty, and then they have a rough couple of years, and now they're right back in it. So it's all you needed. And I think Klay Thompson's finally. I think he's shooting now, so he'll be back soon. And that team is. Yep. I saw Steph shoot from
And they beat the Suns without Devin Booker, who got hurt. So.
Oh, okay. So
next time they play, Devin Booker's going to be back. So. On that win that Golden State got.
Yeah. I was going to say Steph Curry hit a shot from the entryway, where you would come out, and I just it was a swish. He just his shoot, that's just so crazy to his range. Like they said, he just enters a gym and that's his range. So even Trae Young has
right.
Trae Young has some range. Trae Young hits from the logo a couple times. Easy. It's not like he forces it. So but anyway, so all right, well, have a good weekend. Enjoy the football today, and I'm gonna get some more stuff done outside for my house and get that all done, and totally in the Christmas spirit here at Stephen Manor, as I like to call it. So, are you decorating, Greg? Do we get to see some Christmas spirit at your house soon?
Nope.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to be
you're a
all over the
Grinch?
place.
You're just not
No,
home a
I
lot,
just
right?
don't decorate.
Yeah.
Exactly. If there's no significant other, I am not decorating.
Yeah.
So, that's the queen takes care of that business. So I'll contribute if that's a factor, but otherwise, single Greg does not decorate.
I do it for myself, I always say, because I usually don't have many people come visit, but I will invite, I say if people want to come, but yeah, it's nice to do it for myself and have a little Christmas spirit in my house. So, but yeah, well, enjoy the weekend and yeah, get back in next week on Sunday, probably the same time. I should be okay, good to go after that. So, and I'll talk all about my Comic-Con experience and share my picture with John Cena. Hopefully you could see him. Yeah. And on that note, we will end this broadcast.